Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success podcast, with your hosts, Mike Menino and Nariman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Guys, I'm Nariman Hamden, and this is Driven Unscripted Success podcast. We have another super guest on today. We have Daniel Jimenez, and Daniel is the co-founder and COO of Stride Dental Group. He also has his master's in engineering. He's highly accomplished. He's dynamic and results-driven account leader and manager with more than 15 years of extensive experience leading world-class transformations in diverse, fast-paced, and ever-changing environments. How's it going?
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Daniel. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to hearing about all the good things that you're doing and how you got to where you are today.
Absolutely.
So why don't you start off by giving us a quick snapshot of your business right now, what you do and what your company does, et cetera.
Absolutely. Yeah. So my business partner and I co-founded Stride Dental Group, and we are a multi-location dental practice management company. We have expanded to 3 offices. We started off with 1, and we expanded to 3 over the last year and a half. They're all in the Central Florida area. And, I'll tell you that the things that we do that are really trying to shake up the dental space, if you will, is number 1, technology. I am absolutely obsessed with AI, automation, all of that. So I'm probably on 3 to 4 phone calls a week of just new AI technology and software and all of that. So we really lean into that. And you may ask yourself, well, why? Like that's cool, but why? And the answer is simple. I want my staff focusing on the patient experience, patient engagement. I don't want them on the phone. I don't want them doing a bunch of administrative things. So we really try to automate that and really streamline the operation so that they can really engage with our patients. The second thing I think that separates us or kind of differentiates us from a model standpoint is insurance experts. We ensure that our staff are absolute wizards of insurance. And you may think, well, come on. I mean, isn't any healthcare business practice experts in insurance? The answer is no. The answer is that insurance by design is very complicated. It's a moving target. And so we believe very strongly that you can come to one of our offices and you can get more dental work done with less out-of-pocket expenses because we're going to absolutely maximize your coverage, your benefits, and all of that. So we're very, very good with that. We have, my team has between all the different people that really focus on this, over 100 years of dental experience focused on insurance, benefit coverage maximization. And then lastly, maybe not as, eye-catching, but it's same-day appointments, right? I mean, a lot of times I've heard, I go to a lot of dental conferences, and I hear people say, "Oh, well, yeah, we try to squeeze people in, but we got to make sure we get all this information." No. Our philosophy is that if you've got an emergency, when you call us, the only question we're going to ask is, "How soon can you be here?" Right? We'll figure out everything. We want to build a reputation for solving people's health, oral health needs. And we believe that that's a key to us growing and prospering. So, but yeah, that's what we do. And we're really enjoying ourselves. And my background is not dental at all. I come from the business world, worked in large scale operations and business management and engineering. And I just found a passion for this healthcare space. And it also helps that I get to work with my best friend since I was a kid. And that's Dr. Yvonne Montijo, the co-founder of Stride Dental Group.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with taking risks? Is there a time when rolling the dice really worked out for you?
I mean, selfishly, I think the first thing that comes to mind is the big career move, right? I had quite the cushy job at Amazon. I made good money. I had stock with Amazon. My boss was over in Europe, so I had a lot of autonomy. And I always thought, I maybe it was like a midlife crisis kind of thing. I always thought that working is you work so that you can make money to take care of your family, and that's that. It doesn't really matter if you're happy. It doesn't matter if you're fulfilled. It doesn't matter if you enjoy it. You work. It's a means to an end, right? I've got 2 kids. I'm married. I've been married for 13 years, and so that was sort of my thought process. And so it took me until I was 40 to figure out that that's not the case. If you're not fulfilled, if you're not learning, if you don't get some sort of gratification from the work that you do, you're dying. And so yeah, I mean, I decided to, that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to dip into the entrepreneurial world, and I love that in my job now, as a co-founder and COO, I'm not just doing one thing. I mean, I'm on marketing calls, then I'm on a technology call, then I'm dealing with payroll issues and human resources and benefits, and I just love getting to wear all these different hats. And so, I don't know. That's a tough question to answer. If my wife were here, she would say that I was built to take risks. I am an eternal risk-taking hobbyist with cave diving and skiing and all these hobbies that I love. I really love to kind of push the envelope a little bit, and all within reason, obviously. But yeah, that's my answer for that one.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. I mean, and as you're finding out with coming in to be an entrepreneur, I mean, I'm sure you've experienced the roller coasters of the highs and lows of it,
Yeah.
never ending. So welcome to the world of crazy,
Yes,
more or
indeed.
less. So, what's a skill or habit you think doesn't get enough credit for contributing to your success?
I mean, I think I give it quite a bit of credit, but I think it's worth mentioning. You know, One thing that I did early in my career, and I didn't know at the time the value of it, but really obsessing over data. And what does that mean? That means being able to, within Excel or some tool, being able to really analyze data, create pivot tables and charts, and basically being able to remove the subjectivity from a decision and to make it purely quantifiable, quantitative based, right? Now, granted, the world that I came from, Lockheed Martin, defense industry, Amazon, those are pretty standard environments where data is a very, very big part of the decision making. But as I worked my way up into leadership and senior management, um, you saw that a lot of my colleagues, my peers, they didn't have that, right? Because they were relying on other functions to do the data analysis and everything. And so I think the one thing that I'm passionate about it, and so that was helpful. But I really believe, and I've actually had this feedback from mentors and managers of mine in the past, that I've done a really good job of balancing the two main skill sets that you have in the tech industry, right? Typically,
Sure.
you have someone in the tech industry that is very tech oriented. They're super data savvy, and they don't really do the people side so well. And then you have the flip side of that, whereas like you are a people leader, you are inspiring, you're motivating, you're a great communicator. But when it comes down to doing the tactical data analytics, that's not maybe a strength of yours. And I prided myself on really kind of balancing the line. I love data. I'm extremely impatient, which has affected me in both my professional and my personal life. But I think that that impatience has led to me. I don't want to wait on some business analyst or business engineer to go and run the data. I want to do it myself. I want to go back to my manager, go back to my team, and say, "Hey, I did the analysis, and we're wrong. We're heading down the wrong path here. The data shows that we should be going in that direction instead. Let me share the supporting information." Like, I love that. I love that instant gratification that data can bring.
Sure.
So, in a roundabout way of answering your question, I really believe that leveraging the power of data analytics to guide your decision making, even at senior leadership levels, that for me has been absolutely transformational in my career.
And especially with your background, I mean, you set up the Whole Foods and that entire program with Amazon. So I mean, talk about data and analytics on that in itself,
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
and then incorporating that into Amazon's process as well.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive. So you definitely do have a strong suit strength for that one, or a great skill on that. So staying on top of any field of stuff, what's something exciting you see on the horizon in your industry, and how are you getting ready for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the easy answer there is just all of the vast applications of AI. Um, and you may think, well, wait, how can that really benefit in the healthcare space? But let me tell you this: the technology is relatively new, but we have been using it in my practices, and it's been incredible for us. And that is, there are multiple companies out there that are doing AI annotations on X-rays. So think about this.
Huh.
Imagine building an LLM, right? A language learning model with an AI infrastructure where you're feeding it tens of millions of X-rays that have been diagnosed. That's a filling, that's a crown, that's an implant, that's a denture, all the different stuff that you can see on an X-ray, right? And so you're teaching the LLM, and then now, after that's been done and it's learned and everything, you've invested millions of dollars into building that tool. Now you take an X-ray on a patient, you put it through that AI, it's instantaneous. And so now, instead of you, I'm the doctor, I'm looking at you, and I say, I'm really concerned that you have these cavities on the upper right, and that if we don't take care of this, it could lead to the need for a root canal or a crown of some sort, and we want to take care of that. So just, it feels a little salesy, right? Like, I don't feel any pain. I don't feel any pain. But and then you look at the X-ray, right? And the X-ray is black and white and gray, and we don't really, right? The doctor could say anything, right? And we say, oh, okay, if you say so. Well, now with AI, that's no longer the case. AI is annotating. It's showing, this is your root. This is the nerve. This is the where the dentin is exposed. I mean, this is the anatomy of your tooth. You see that gap that you have between your teeth and your gums? Your gums are receding. They're moving away from your teeth. Like, these are things that we can't really see, but now we have this educational tool that is transformational. And why? I mean, because not only is it great for patient education, but also from a diagnostic standpoint. My business partner tells me all the time, Daniel, I feel like I'm cheating because I pull up an X-ray. I've been doing. He's been a dentist for 15 years. He knows X-rays really well. But the thing is, imagine this very like microscopic something that you can't really see, and now AI is pointing it out to you. AI cannot diagnose, right? That's illegal, right? We don't want computers diagnosing healthcare issues.
Sure.
But having them create what's called a second opinion, or guiding the doctor, guiding the clinician towards making a decision, that's absolutely revolutionary. And there's all kinds of other AI applications that I can share with you. But yeah, I do think that with AI and with its maturity, even in the short time that ChatGPT has been around, I have seen vast improvements in workflow, calls being answered by AI receptionists. Just, I mean, really, really incredible stuff. One other thing I'll share with you that is just blows my mind. There is now software AI that is being used in some practices. I don't think that it's super widespread now, and I'll keep some of it a secret because I want it to be a part of our competitive advantage.
Sure.
But there are tools now that are linked to your bank account, to your business bank account, and they're linked to the insurance company's pages. So, or their dashboards. So let's say I get a direct deposit for you for a claim that I sent in for $100. It goes into my bank account. Traditionally, right, at a normal office, I go into my bank account, I check it every day. I see, oh, Delta Dental or Aetna or whoever, they sent a payment for this. I wonder who that was for. I got to go look it up. I have to figure out who the patient was. Then I have to find the EOB, the explanation of benefits, and then go into my ledger, post the payment, drop the EOB, done. That's one patient done, right? And we see thousands of patients a month. So imagine the burden that is. Well, there's now software, brand new, relatively new, I should say, where everything's linked. And so now, while you're sleeping at night, after spending the day cutting teeth all day, it's seeing the deposits in your bank account. It's correlating it to the insurance company, a patient, grabbing the EOB, dropping it into your practice management software, and you come into work and $25,000 of payments were just posted last night for patients without you lifting a finger. I mean, come on,
That's
revolutionary.
I mean, talk about how time saving that is, and just where you can actually progress and build the business even faster because you're cutting all that workload.
Absolutely.
I mean, tremendously by the use of that and incorporating that AI that's pretty fascinating, that software. Yeah. Holy moly. I mean, that's a game changer right there. So I'm sure leading a team has its challenges. What's your leadership style, And can you give us an example of how it helped you through a tough spot?
Oof. I think that my leadership style, and I've kind of been bred this way through my career, is really that if you provide constructive criticism or feedback to an employee and they're surprised by it, then you're not a very good leader. No one should be surprised to receive feedback that they're not doing something the right way. So how do you get there? You set very clear expectations, right? It's very important to me that we have robust protocols, mechanisms. Everybody knows exactly what's expected of them. I have checklists also, here, and it's not to micromanage, but it's simply, there's a lot of stuff to do in a dental office. And so here's the things that need to get done daily. And so it just really keeps people focused. And it makes it much easier to hold them accountable, to provide the feedback. And so I'll just share with you too, one thing that has been a bit of an adjustment for me in my few years in dentistry, and I have a few theories as to why this is the case. But when I was in my previous jobs as a leader, if I asked you as an employee to do something or I gave you a directive, it got done. There was really very few scenarios in my entire career that I can think of where I asked someone to do something and there was pushback or didn't get done. That's not how things work at Amazon and at Lockheed Martin. Then you get into dentistry, and in dentistry, that's really not the case. And I'm not pointing any fingers. I do think that it's a factor of what we talked about earlier, where doctors are busy. They're running the hygiene and the DAs and the front end. They're doing all this stuff clinically. And then after all that, after their full-time job, they now have the full-time job of running a business outside of the clinical side, right? And so how do you hold people accountable? How do you ensure that everyone knows what the expectations are? Like, it's just too much. Something's got to give. And so it was a bit jarring for me getting into dentistry and realizing I would present a new product, a new feature, a new process that would make your life so much easier. And everyone would get excited. They would thank me. Oh, finally, we've been looking for a solution like this. And then 3 weeks goes by and they've reverted back to how they were doing it before. Sure. That for me is just, what are you doing? And so my business partner said, Daniel, you've got to stop being surprised by that, because that's just the industry that we're in. That's just kind of how it is. It's always been that way. And I got to tell you, just between you and I thought, it's okay, fine. Maybe that's what he thinks, but I'm a big leader. I've led teams of hundreds and hundreds of people. Like I can do this, and I could not have been more wrong. He was absolutely right. That is just the culture. I think people instinctively go to the easiest path. And so I think that the process of holding people accountable and providing that leadership and being tough. I think, to answer your question in a simple way, my leadership style is tough. I'm not trying to be everybody's friend. I do feel that there's a balance with culture. I want people to enjoy coming to work. Life is short, right? And why am I here, right? I'm here because of that exact statement. Life is short, and I want people to feel happy and fulfilled and gratified. I did it. That's why I'm here. So I want everyone else to feel that same way. And so creating a culture where people feel appreciated is really important to me. But also, if you're not doing something the right way, I'm not going to tiptoe around it. That's not my style.
Right.
And
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And, with you saying that you found a little challenging with the healthcare, with the staff, being all rah about the ideas, and then nothing happens. I mean, it's comparable to, the food and beverage industry. It's a service industry, and it's the same mindset for those type of employees, because things are kind of just laid back on the whim.
Yep.
Customers come, some don't come, some go, some complain. So it's kind of blasé, where it's not so corporate, because they're literally in the service industry. They're dealing with, they're Absolutely. The face of the company. They're in front of the house, as opposed to back of the house, where you can implement more and actually have it run with different steps or protocol. So take that into consideration. It's a service industry.
Absolutely. More or less. That's a great analogy. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, something to be said, right? I mean, the average pay, right, for, a front office, we call them patient care coordinators, is, $22 to $25 an hour, something like that, right? And so that commitment, that hunger, that ownership, right? It's just not there. And is it their fault? Well, I mean, maybe not, right? But I want to create a culture that they feel, like I have a great bonus programs in my offices. And so if people are doing more work and the practice is growing from it, every single person benefits from that, right? So I feel like that's a strategy
Right.
that we
Team
use
building.
to, what's that?
Team building.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for
So we're
sure.
getting ready for our Thanksgiving potluck coming up in a couple of weeks. And then we've
Well,
got
that's fun.
a holiday celebration that we'll be doing with all the offices together. So definitely trying to keep that. And I'll tell you too, just one other note on that, there's a balance here. And I don't know how familiar you are, but the large DSOs, like the largest DSO in the world is Heartland Dental, right? They are a multi-billion-dollar company. They have close to 2,000 offices in the United States. And and not to pick on them, just saying there's lots of them, right? But when I hire somebody from one of these DSOs, I have to be honest with you, I don't hear a lot of positive things. There's a lot of well, I was just a number, or I wasn't treated well, or
Sure.
or the doctor left, and so we didn't even have a doctor, and so we were having to clean people's teeth and hygiene, and then refer them out to an office that had a doctor. Just so I don't want, like, yes, I want to be corporate. Yes, I want to grow, and I want to have 10 or 15 practices, but I want it to feel like a private practice, right? I don't
Sure.
want it to feel like you're a part of this massive corporation, and so that's definitely a challenge of mine, is walking that balance. And when a patient walks into one of our offices, I don't want them to know, to be honest with you, I don't want them to know that they're a part of Stride Dental Group. It is Family Care Dental, Vineland Modern Dentistry, and Sanford Modern Dentistry. Those are the three offices we have right now, and there's no like branding like, we just want it to feel private. We're not trying to trick anybody, but it's that Stride Dental Group provides administrative support to those
Sure.
businesses, and we want them to operate independently and to feel that way. And so that's our strategy for now.
That's pretty cool. So, when you're building your dream team, what's the trait you always look for and why?
Well, I mean, that's shifted for me a bit recently, to be honest with you. You know, I I thought that it was required to have a strong dental background, work ethic, and all of these things. And I think that I found that attitude is the most important factor. Having attitude and hunger and desire and taking notes. And I think that that's something that I has shown to be the most important character trait. I've hired. I've only been in the business for 3 years, but I've hired probably 50 people in the last 3 years.
Wow.
And so I've seen a lot of that. And I'll just say this to you. I'm sure you're very well aware, but Malcolm Gladwell has a quote where he says he's hired thousands of people over the years, but that even with that experience and that wisdom that he has, that he still says that hiring somebody is like playing Russian roulette. And I have to agree with him, because
True.
the resumes and interviews and all of that are not necessarily reflective of who you're going to have coming in and day out. So I just try to, like I said, these are the expectations. Here's what we're going to be testing you at, 30, 60, 90 days. We want you to enjoy this environment. We want you to be happy to be here, but we're not trying to be a mediocre middle of the road dental office. I want to be cutting edge. I want to really disrupt the dental space. And so in order to do that, I need top performers.
Sure.
So that's the philosophy.
Sure. So, how do you encourage your team to think outside of the box and bring new ideas to the table?
Yeah, I mean, I think education is a big part of that, right? I mean, we're really big on our folks not getting complacent. And so, when there are new clinical guidelines, or maybe a new clinical product that is shown to provide maybe more of a healing properties for, periodontal disease or something like that, we bring in experts to have meetings with the team. We also have leadership training that we have a vendor that we use for that. So I think that that's really, in order, dentistry is really pretty mundane. If you think about, like, we're doing teeth cleanings, we're doing implants, we're doing crowns, like it's a lot of the same. So how do you keep it
Sure.
fresh? How do you keep it right? And I think that the culture comes from, hey, we are a culture of continuous learning. We've got some really great, as I mentioned before, bonus incentive programs, and we really strive to show how we're performing, show how we're doing, and to create a philosophy of, hey, there's not going to be a scenario where this office is doing really, really well and that everyone doesn't benefit from that. That's not, we're not trying to take all the profits and run. We don't, that's not our thought process. So I would say it's easier said than done to get people to think outside the box. But I do think that showing up, being energetic, and showing that the status quo is not going to work. It's not going to work. We're not about the status quo. And I think that has reverberated amongst the team. And I think
Sure.
that their work and their production has reflected that.
Sure. So what's a day in your life look like, and how do you juggle work and everything else?
Yeah. I spend most of my time on the computer. I wish that I could tell you that I'm there at the office and auditing and observing but right now we're in super growth mode, right? These are three relatively new practices. I'm on calls for marketing strategies, marketing campaigns, direct mail content, so working with vendors on that. I spend quite a bit of time on the payroll stuff. So I'll tell you, the bonus program that we have is wonderful. The team loves it. But the administrative burden that I've created on myself to administer the bonus is difficult, but it's worth it. But I do spend a lot of time on payroll stuff, and I've got about 30 employees right now, so not a huge amount, but it's that's 30 paychecks biweekly, medical
Sure.
insurance, benefits, all of that. So I spend a lot of time on that. Business operations, right? So malpractice insurance, business registration, X-ray licensure, regulatory compliance, HIPAA, OSHA, CPR. I manage a lot of that as well. Vendors, right? We have maintenance on the facilities and lights going. I actually just had an electrician call me today, say, Daniel, the voltage for these lights that we're swapping out is not the right voltage. We need to buy new products. Just so it's stuff like that. There's always something different that's going on. And then I think, one of the more kind of strategic things that I'm working on is really driving home our protocols. We've developed brand new protocols for each role. So every single role in our office has its own, I call it a protocol, but its own job scope. Here's what's required of you. Here's what's expected. Here's the verbiage you use. Here's the urgency. Here's the phrase. All of that is in there. And so we want to go to the offices. I would like to lead role-playing activities, right? Because when you're presenting
Sure.
financials, that people get really uncomfortable. So right now we're working really hard on, pointing to the total and then pausing. Don't make an assumption about someone's financial situation based on the way they look, the way they talk, whatever. We don't know
Sure.
that. And $1,000 may be a lot of money to you. It may not be a lot of money to them. So it's like really working. We're not selling anything, but we believe that if we do our jobs as clinicians to educate our patients, that regardless how much money they have in their bank accounts, they're going to make the best decision for their oral health, and we'll benefit from that, right? And so I think that that's been a big part. That's a big part of my job is putting the protocols in place, driving compliance, and then holding people accountable that can't stick to it.
Sure. Has there been a book, a podcast, or someone that's really changed your outlook or approach?
I do listen to a lot of dental podcasts. One in particular that I listen to is Dental CEO. That's Dr. Scott Luna. I've attended his conferences. I'm actually going to one of his conferences here in 3 weeks. I've been to all of his conferences. This will actually be the last one. But yeah, he's someone that I look up to. I like his philosophy, his no nonsense. Like here's the way to build a successful practice. But there's also when I was in my master's program many years ago, there was a book that I read that really kind of changed some of my my preconditioned philosophies, and that was called First Break All the Rules. I don't remember who the author is, but it's called First Break All the Rules. And that book was really revolutionary for me because basically it was a book where all of these CEOs of all of these major companies around the world were interviewed about their leadership styles and about, just different philosophies and quotes that they had. And one of the things that I learned from that book was that, and I was a young leader at the time in my early 20s, but I learned that there's this misconception that if we focus on the lowest performer on a team and really like work on improving them and guiding them and building them up, that's going to be the biggest return on investment for the team. That's actually not the philosophy, not the thought process of the world's biggest and most successful leaders. The thought process is the opposite. The thought process is spend your time building up your highest performers because
Sure.
their ceiling is much, much higher. And the return on investment from that will outweigh any return on investment from spending your time on the low performer. And that's really helped me in my career.
Yeah, and it makes a lot more sense to place your bets on the high performers because they're already producing. So
Absolutely.
if you give
Absolutely.
them more tools and more knowledge and more access to supplies or whatever they need to take it to even another level,
Yep.
basically psychopath level, then you better bet you're going to bet on them, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's, the underdogs or the underperformers, I should say, just need to push themselves is what it
Yeah.
comes down to,
Absolutely.
because no one can do it for them. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna have to look that book up. So how do you tackle learning new things, especially stuff that's way outside of your comfort zone? I mean, this is a great example. Coming
Yeah.
out of dentistry.
I love learning new things. Simple answer is I am someone that loves to do research. So I do a lot of research to learn new things. I like to dive in and put myself to an environment where there's experts around me, experts in an area that I can learn from. I'm lucky that I've always been sort of an inquisitive person, right? I'm the guy at the doctor's office that literally every time I go to the doctor, they pause and they say, "You're either a physician or an engineer." There's nobody comes in here and asks as many questions as you do. So that's just kind of who I am. I'm super inquisitive. I love learning about how things work. So I think that's been valuable. But also, I really lean on podcasts. To be honest with you, with dropping my kids off at school and driving to work. The offices are kind of spread out here in Central Florida, so I'm in my car quite a bit, and I really like to leverage the resources available to me. And there's surprisingly, a lot of
Sure.
podcasts in the dental space and different perspectives. And so I use that as a learning tool as well.
Sure. Well, it sounds like things are going well for you in your business. As you're looking towards the future, I'm wondering if or how you create passive income, or if you've invested in the past.
Yeah. I started a company a couple of years ago that's related to dentistry, and that was supposed to be sort of like a passive income thing. That's called feestream.com. And it's basically a tool, it's a SaaS program, so software as a service, where, every year when a new insurance fee schedule comes out, right, like what all the prices are for all the different procedure codes, there's historically there has not been an easy way to get that into your practice management software system. It's always been manual. So I created a software where you simply go to my website, feestream.com, you drop in a PDF of the fees, and it pops out a text file. And that text file can automatically be uploaded into your practice management software. So revolutionary. So when I created this, and I used my own money to fund the development of this software, I thought best case scenario, maybe I'll make some money, some passive income. Worst case scenario, I can use this tool to relieve the administrative burden of my staff at my offices. So that's
Sure.
one thing there. Also, with Stride Dental Group, I am an equity partner, of course, and so that has been helpful to really understand what is driving the bottom line. And so because that's affecting my income, my family,
Sure.
and also of course the growth and the valuation of the business itself. But outside of that, no, I mean, my family, we love to take vacations. So that's a big use of our money. I'm originally from Madrid, Spain, so my family's all in Europe, and so we go to Europe every
Sure.
summer, a couple times a year. So any passive income that I come across is typically towards traveling with the family.
Sure. I completely understand. Um, well, it sounds like everything's going well. So, as we're wrapping up the interview, what do you have? What initiatives do you have planned for the next 6 to 12 months? What do you got going on?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to expand. I'm ready. we just launched a startup in July. So here we are now, 4 months later. I'm happy to report that we are just about to be profitable, which I'm really, really proud of, because the industry average for a dental practice to become profitable from a startup is 18 months. And we're looking to be profitable in month 4. So I'm really, really proud of that. That is a testament to these protocols that I talked about. They're working. I copied and pasted them, put them in this location. Hey, everybody, these are the expectations. Here's how we do business. Here's what you say. Here's how to say it. And it's working. And the team's doing really well. So I think that with the success of this third practice, I think it's time to start looking onto the next one. And so we'd like to find our 4th and 5th. And I would love to have another 2 practices by this time next year.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time to share some of your insights and experience. If one wanted to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, I think the best way to get a hold of me is Daniel@stridedentalgroup.com. DANIEL @stridedentalgroup.com. And I'm happy to help anybody out that I can.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for coming on, and thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.